Hello and welcome to Lunchtime Politics, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in the nation's commercial nerve center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Uzoma. Let's bring you up to speed with those big happenings in politics and in the polity. Beginning with the headlines. Gunmen killed 2 in Kwara State after attacking a church and the border community of Eruku in Ekiti local government area of the state. Professor of Strategy and Development Anthony Keeler asked the judiciary to be wary of political litigations and avoid destroying Nigeria's justice system. Thanks again for joining us on the program. The responsibility is pretty simple. At midday, my job is to bring you up to speed with the biggest happenings in politics and in the polity right here in Nigeria and around the world. But we will start not with the political conversation or the political news, but just while we're trying to get over the incident of 25 girls who are still in captivity from Kebbi State, where the vice president is expected to visit today. I learned on the command or the order of the president. Another incident that occurred. 2 people have now been reportedly killed by suspected bandits during an attack in Eruku, a boundary community in Ekiti local government area of Kwara State. A parish of the Christ Apostolic Church, Shegun, in Eruku was reportedly attacked by the gunmen. The incident is said to have occurred on Tuesday evening when gunmen stormed the outskirts of the town. However, the police say they responded, forcing the attackers to flee. In a statement by the Kwara State Police Command, 1 male victim, Mr. Deremi, was discovered fatally shot inside the church, inside Christ Apostolic Church, that's Ike Ishegun, while one Mr. Tunde Asaba Ajayi, another victim of fatal gunshot, was found in the bush. Vigilante Shegun Alaja sustained gunshot injuries and was immediately rushed to the Ekwa Hospital in Eruku for medical treatment. Reacting to the incident, the governor of the state, Abdurrahman Abdurrazak, condemned the attack and called for urgent reinforcement of security forces in the area. So we really have the big issues on our hands as far as it looks like there's a resurgence of escalation and incidents, and now mass abduction of those 25 girls. So the government has just one job: to restore confidence and to secure the people. But away from that, let's talk to you about the current situation. There was a show of, people call it a show of shame, and it's not far from the truth of what played out at the People's Democratic Party national headquarters yesterday, when the 2 groups laying claim to the leadership stormed the area, holding their meetings. Well, things got out of hand. The police had to use tear gas. One of our colleagues was even hit by one of those canisters, tear gas canisters on the knee. And we could see governors, 2 governors, pushing their way through and all of that. We understand the Honorable Minister of the FCT was also there, but couldn't get in. It's just a mess of a situation. Well, we can tell you what is playing out today. So if my producer can get me that, the situation at the Wadata Plaza today, I think there are visuals to this effect where you will see that the area has been cordoned off. So you can see rapid deployment of barrier by the police. They've cordoned off that entire area of the Wadata Plaza. So primarily the police is saying all parties should stay off, maybe for now. Of course, there will still be agitation to that effect. We even see some level of show of force. So these are the barricades that are being used to block the entrance, given what played out yesterday at the premises of the PDP headquarters, National Secretariat at the Wadata Plaza yesterday. Well, given what has played out, we had a conversation earlier with Professor Anthony Killer, who is a professor of leadership and strategy. And this is how he described how the judiciary should be wary of political litigations, because with the way it's going and forum shopping and the things we see play out with the interplay between political litigations and the state of the judiciary, is getting a bit messy, and is calling for a bit of a restraint by the judiciary to be wary of some of these political litigations, especially when stare decisis has been established, where cases that has been clearly stated by the Supreme Court is still being entertained, and lower courts are assuming jurisdiction, which is one of the reasons for all this conundrum in the first place. Let's take a listen to Professor Killer.
Some judges and judgments that are enforceable and are high profile, there are some that are not enforceable. That makes more sense. The decision, the judgment that says membership issues should be left as membership level is a very rational, commonsensical position to be taken. I want our bench and our bar to take note that partisan politics in Nigeria is very corrupt and very debasing, very destructive, very toxic. And they should do well to stay away from it as much as possible. The continuous involvement of the judiciary in matters of political party is eroding the trust that observers and average citizens have in the judiciary. And they should be very careful not to be pushed down with it. Because partisan politics, partisan affairs, by nature, cannot be objective. Those people do not seek truth. They do not seek justice. They do not seek fairness. They seek power. They seek to possess. They seek to dominate. As a result, all their actions cannot, regardless of what they come to tell you, all their actions are partisan. It is for a part. It is never for the whole. So I advise the judiciary to stay away from it as much as possible. And I don't know who can do it. Maybe the judiciary themselves. They need to speak to themselves to ensure consistency in their judgment and to insist that their judgment are respected. But before they can ask for their judgment to be respected, they need the moral authority to ensure that the judgments are consistent. Where there is no consistency, where people know that they can shop around for judgment, then they are going to do it, and that is to the detriment of justice.
All right, so that's Professor Anthony Killer, who was speaking on Morning Brief earlier today. Let's bring in our guests as we continue this conversation around the politics of the People's Democratic Party. Joining us from our Abuja studios is Nnamdi Dixon Oregbo, is a member of the People's Democratic Party, joining us from the Abuja studio. Mr. Oregbo, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
All right, Mr. Oregbo, I understand you were at the venue of you were at the Wadata Plaza yesterday. So I would like to get your thought on what really happened. You know, we were watching, seeing visuals coming through. What played out? I know that the two groups, they said they are going to hold their neck and their meetings, and well, we saw how it ended. But what really happened from an eyewitness point of view?
Again, thank you very much. There are no two groups that wanted to have neck. We just had some intruders who invaded the Secretariat of the People's Democratic Party, while the chairman and the new NWC scheduled a meeting, after being elected duly at the convention that held in Ibadan. They scheduled a meeting to hold their first interaction with stakeholders and indeed members of the party at the Secretariat. But of course, before we could get there, as early as 6 o'clock, these intruders invaded the premises of the Wadata Plaza, took over the whole arena, of course, and thugs everywhere. Personally, I was attacked. In fact, battered seriously. I was really down at the time I was called for this interview. But like so many other leaders, including governors with immunity, were tear gassed. and all sorts of harassment that happened there. So it was more like a war front, because we saw the police, rather than ensure that the two groups, that you referred to, that they didn't take any sides, but it was clear that the FCT minister who mobilized them had an upper hand and influence over the security agency. Before then, a day before that yesterday event, we went to the Commissioner of Police, FCT. I was there also with the chairman, Dr. Taminu Turaki, SAN, and where he notified the commissioner that, being the new NWC, that they will be having a meeting the next day, and that it would be right to notify them so that security will be provided for the members, and being that we were aware also of the plans of those intruders. So indeed, it's a show of shame as described, but it is politics. Those who have said to be disruptors and destroyers decided to stay back in there in our party to derail our party, because what is really the narrative? And I think it would be right for Nigerians to understand what exactly is the narrative. The narrative is that members of PDP, including Nyesom Wike and the former secretary of the party, Senator Sam Anyanwu, and so many others, right, have taken a position that they are going to support the current administration, the current president, against the 2027. And so they are doing everything possible to achieve that. And one of the things they are doing is to stay inside the PDP and disrupt, and possibly ensure that the party does not produce a viable alternative to what we have today. And we, loyal and committed, real members of the party, said no. The purpose of our gathering as a political party is to contest election and possibly win. And because Nigerians are not comfortable with the present state of our country, this government haven't failed woefully, that it would be right to present an alternative, a credible character that will have empathy. And unfortunately, I started this conversation with you without even expressing my deep concern to the issue of insecurity in our country. Today, we now have the KB girls that have been kidnapped, and my heart goes out to the families and indeed to all Nigerians, and also those who have been killed. The state of our country is quite disheartening. And rather than the monarch-in-chief, the commander-in-chief, showing empathy, what you see that is playing out is politics, and his attempt to get re-elected when he has failed woefully in this first term. The first 2 years of this administration, every Nigerian can attest to how abysmal this government has performed. And rather than stay focused on governance, it is already playing the 2027 politics that is distracting everyone. And that is our case
if I may
as
come in,
members
Ms.
of the
Arigbo, if you can hear me.
That we couldn't stay back.
My apologies, if you can hear me. Let me bring in, so that we have a balanced conversation. George Turner joins us virtually. Is South-South PDP Secretary, PDP Zonal Secretary, South-South. Mr. George, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Good afternoon, Nigerians.
All right, I can see, I'm sure you've been watching, Ms. Arigbo had mentioned he was particularly at that place. I understand he was even hurt, even on medication as we speak. First, were you at the Wadata Plaza, and what's your own account of what played out yesterday?
Yeah, thank you very much. Nigerians do know that the National Secretary of our great party, Senator Samuel Anyanwu, issued out a notice, which is a part of his constitutional duties, responsibilities to, issue notices for statutory meetings. The notice was sent out for a board of trustees meeting and our 103rd NEC meeting. Now, in the reactionary style, a group, who claim to have gathered in Ibadan over the weekend and constituted themselves into some kind of committee, issued another notice that they were convening a stakeholders meeting of the party. They invited virtually everybody, every human being that you can think of that ever had anything to do with PDP. They were even inviting angels, assuming the party had angels before, in the name of stakeholders, and chose the same venue, our secretariat. These are facts before the poll. These are not that this one comes to TV to speak or this one comes. These are clear facts. And the National Secretary took steps in, giving notice to the police, which is a usual thing that it normally does. And then we all saw images of Turaki SN, lead some members of our party to the FCT police command, to complain that it's about the meeting, statutory meeting summoned by Anyanwu. We were already at the venue. We are taking off with a meeting of state chairmen, with the acting national chairman and the NWC. We were done with that meeting. We were in a caucus meeting in the office of the NWC committee room. And then BOT members were already seated at the neck hall, which is the venue designated for the BOT meeting to start at 11. When governors, specifically two governors, Governor Sheyi Makinde and Governor Bala Mohammed, because the images are everywhere. These are not things, that we need to embellish. Came in and invaded that meeting. Entry, of course, when we all came in, there were set down rules and procedure of getting in. You identify yourself, they cross-check, the secretariat is called, they verified. We all went through that process. But when they got down there, they refused to subject themselves to any of those internal control, systems that the party and the police.
Judge, because of time, I think my apologies, my apologies, Judge, because of time, so that both of you can have more time.
They barged in, and you saw how there's a particular clip where Governor Bala Mohammed.
Just a moment. Let me ask you before I come to Ms. Arego.
The narrative that everybody witnessed.
Yes, Ms. Arego, you wanted to respond.
Why are we allowing somebody come to this platform to want to change the narrative that everybody saw play out? You see, indeed, these are people who were intruders, so referred, and you can see by even the gloating going on there, you are referring to two sitting governors, as though they are nobodies in the party. They came into the party environment and you said they will go through. What process is that, really, that you want, governors, confirmed governors of our party to, be subjected to? It's quite shameful listening to my friend and brother there. He's not a member of our party, by the way, and I hope the public understands that Judge Turner is not a member of the People's Democratic Party. Himself and his cohorts have been so thrown out because they have taken a position that they are going to support President Tinubu for re-election in 2027. We wish them well, but what we are saying is that they will not stay back inside the PDP to do that, because the PDP is going to present a more credible candidate for 2027.
All right, guys. Gentlemen.
Narrative that he's trying to put out here.
All right, gentlemen. Mr. Turner, I wanted you to land on your thoughts. No, just, Mr. Turner, just a moment. I'll allow you to talk now. Mr. Regba has responded. I was a bit curious when you said, even I was a bit curious when you said the governors came in and they had to be subjected to. These are governors on the platform of your party.
No. There was a situation.
Okay.
There was a situation. The police have been brought in.
Okay.
When I came in with a former governor. We were outside for about 5 minutes to go through. It's checks. It's checks. Okay, look at what happened. The moment they opened the gate for the governors to come in, All the talks and everybody who were not supposed to be in there, burst in with them. I can send you a video now, right at the door of the entrance to the neck hall, where people were already seated. Governor Bala was there, and he was saying, call the boys, call the boys. And they came in and descended. I will send that, as we are talking now, I'll send that video to you so you play it.
All right, gentlemen, I think both of you,
you know,
have,
India.
Yes, both of you have established your point. Just a moment, George. Let me come to you, Mr. Aregbu, so that we can make headway within the time we have. The show of shame has happened, whether you are for or against. It's an embarrassing situation that adults, a strong opposition political party, had to go through what everybody in the world is watching. So I don't think anybody, even you guys, with the greatest sense of respect, are proud of what happened yesterday. Now, my question is to the effect, is the police not right at what they, Mr. Aregbu, this for you. Police now has barricaded the area, nobody comes in. Are they not right in making that decision, given the fact that what played out yesterday was literally threatening the peace of the area?
Indeed, yes, but that is reactionary, because one expected that after the convention that the party held in at the Ibadan, that knowing also that there are a group of recalcitrant members who are, available for the trouble that they are, that they showcased yesterday, the police ought to have, been proactive and said, step in, cordon off that area and say, okay, when it is clear, both legally and all of that, and to the public, that indeed these, expelled members are no more members of the party and cannot be parading themselves as members of the party, then you give access to the rightful owners of the house. Listen, the truth of the matter is that we couldn't sit back, and this applies to any Nigerian now, any human being out there. You won't stay back and watch people, intruders, invade your home, and you watch them take over the space. That wouldn't be right. So, but what the police has done now is well commended, and we support it. But honestly, this is just reactionary, because the situation yesterday could have been saved. If you were there yesterday, everyone who witnessed it would see clearly that the position of the Nigerian police was tilted towards the position of the group so-called that the FCT minister is leading. That is to say that the president is probably behind what the FCT minister is doing in Nigeria. I
will plead with you. My apologies.
Let me cannot be
let me bring in Mr. George so that we begin to have our last word on this. So, Mr. George, I think the natural question now is, where is the PDP going from here? The new NWC says, Nyesom Wike is the leader of your group. Nyesom Wike is working for the president and is unapologetic about it. Nyesom Wike will support the president in the election. He has said it. So this is clearly, in their view, you being an insider to ensure you frustrate the PDP. Is that a valid argument? And where does the PDP go from here? They suspended you and others. Your group has also suspended them, so it's a counter-suspension affair. Mr. George, your last thoughts.
Yes. And let me thank Rebo that he has now formally admitted. He has admitted that they couldn't stay back and watch, and that was why they invaded the secretariat. I'll send you a video clip on your WhatsApp. You can play it so that Rebo can respond to it. In any case, that is by the side. Now, you see, Minister Nyesom Wike is not the first to serve in a government of another party. We, PDP, actually invented this kind of arrangement of government of national unity. Bolaige, even the chairman of our board of trustees was never in our party. His Excellency Senator Bala Mohammed. It was during the administration of President Goodluck Jonathan, when we had a debacle in the country, the doctrine of necessity and all that. He was a serving senator that was appointed into that administration. Minister Nyesom Wike has maintained that he remains a member of the PDP. He's not a member of the APC. He wrote to the PDP NWC before he took up this job, and they gave approval.
That's not
even
the point.
In the United States. Now I'm coming.
No.
Can you allow me to make my point?
No, that's not the point.
Can you allow me to make?
The point is that while he is serving as minister,
I have it.
he is saying he's going to
Mr.
support
just a moment.
the
Mr. Aragbo, I will come to you.
No.
Yes, Mr. Aragbo.
Minister Wike,
Judge, Mr. Judge, just
Wike.
1 minute, so that I can talk to Mr. Aragbo. Go ahead, please, Mr. Judge. Mr. Judge, please go ahead.
But Minister Wike, if you recall, was in the forefront in the demand that the party should zone its presidential ticket to the south, because he believes that late President Buhari haven't done 8 years. The south deserved to do 8 years. The party have now zoned the presidency to the south. Why don't you wait? Why are you jumping wait? Let us have a party first. Let's have a party first. When we get to that bridge, we'll cross.
All right. Judge, you've made your point. Let me come to Mr. Aragbo. Judge, I'll take that as your last word. My apologies. Because of time, my apologies, gentlemen. Mr. Aragbo, your last word. Judge, I'll take that as your last word. Mr. Aragbo, clearly, aggressive mutual suspicion is what is playing out here. How do you close?
No, the facts are there, and it's only a tree that will stand, firm to wait for when it will be cut down, especially when it's been said it's going to be cut down. He's saying we should wait for Nyesom Wike to finally, disrupt everything about the party before we can now maybe take a position. Let me inform you, like I was attacked at that secretariat, and I know the faces of those who attacked. They work with the former national secretary of the party. He, the former national secretary of the party, told me personally in an engagement with him, and that was where I parted ways with him. He told me clearly that we should stay off 2027 and wait for 2031. And I said, no, sir, because clearly, if this government had performed well, then possibly we can, consider it. But this is the worst administration so far after Muhammadu Buhari that, started 2015 to 2023. Tinubu's government is the worst government that has happened to this country. And we cannot stay back, therefore, as a party that held sway for 16 years and watch this government finally destroy our country. And that is why we won't support what Nyesom Wike and his group are doing. And it's simple. That's it. They can now go to APC so that we can rest.
Minister Wike said you will support the president, and then you travel on illegality. You cannot do that. We will not allow you to do that. This party belongs to us.
Apparently, it's difficult for me to settle your scores. You eventually get a room and settle your scores as members of political parties. But gentlemen, what this is doing to all of us as citizens of Nigeria is that the failure of the PDP to put its acts together, this blame game, is denying Nigeria, and I'll keep saying it, the opportunity of a very robust opposition to check whatever it is of this current government. But I must thank you both. The conversation is not over. Judge Turner, Zonal Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, still under contention. They say you've been expelled from the party.
Not any Zonal Secretary of the People's Democratic Party. He's an interloper. He's not a member of our party. Please, don't misrepresent the PDP. And I think the media needs to do the right thing, really. This person is not a member of the party and cannot be described to be a Zonal Secretary of the People's Democratic Party.
Mr. Nnamdi Dixon Oregbo, a member of the PDP. Look, we're not your problem. You're suspending yourselves. We just reflect what is going on. So we're not your problem.
It's not a jungle. Nigeria is not a jungle.
But I must thank you both. Thank you. It's an ongoing conversation. Thank you. I appreciate you both. I will keep the conversation going. We wish the party well. Bye-bye. Thank you. And that's it on the program. Well, politics, it's a game of interest. It's play out. And that's it on Lunchtime Politics. You've been served. And Jeff Hughes. Bye-bye.